can edit everything.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let's get started. Okay, hi Adam. Welcome to One Back's interview demo sessions. Thanks for being the first one on. This is
Yeah,
gonna be awesome.
thanks for having me.
So, Adam, let's start with who are you and what's your background in sports, tech, and business?
Yeah, so my name is Adam Redmond. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tully. My background in sports was really as an athlete. So I played offensive line in the NFL for 6 years. Um, most of my time spent in Dallas with the Cowboys. So settled down here in Dallas. But yeah, most before Tully, it was all from the athlete's perspective, which is a lot of things that we channeled into the business going forward.
Okay, can you tell us the story behind like how Tully became to be?
Yeah, so well, the founding is I'm one of two co-founders. So my one of my best friends, my college roommate, teammate Mike Mancinelli, we played together on the offensive line at Harvard. So we have a long friendship that spans a couple of decades now. But basically, when I was finishing playing football, I knew entrepreneurship was something I was interested in. Mike went back to business school and also was in entrepreneurship, and we basically came together to start the business about 3 years ago. And new sports tech was something we wanted to focus on, but weren't 100% sure on what that meant. We just knew we wanted to deliver a product that really helped kind of the typical organization. So youth athletics, high school athletes, maybe not as geared much to like the elite, professional level, but kind of those everyday athletes like we were, in high school and kind of developing.
Yeah, for sure. So, what exactly is Tully then? Like the background behind it.
Yeah, so the Tully at its core is really a simplified software platform that we help coaches, high schools, athletic organizations really track and manage the development of their athletes. And so we use data from really this mostly the strength conditioning performance space. So everything an athlete's doing kind of off the practice field and their training and development. We help coaches, regardless of their resources and time and experience, we kind of help them meaningfully track that data, focus on progress, focus on development. We help them track it, manage, maybe understand, and most importantly, kind of communicate back that feedback to their athletes, to parents, to others in the organization who that information is relevant to. And the kind of starting point for us was actually the idea for Tully came from an early business failure, which we came in with an idea, thinking more in like the hardware space and what was, sports tech we could possibly build to help athletes. And one idea we had was in the space of velocity-based training, which, if you're not familiar with that, it's basically a device that measures, the speed at which you're moving a barbell or a weight. So it's
Hmm.
like the quality of your reps, not just the quantity type of an idea. So we actually built a device. We built several of them, and we had them in about a dozen schools working with coaches. And the feedback was, "Hey guys, this is really cool, but I have like 300 other athletes that I have to train. I've got a whole team here, and this is one device. I can only use it sparingly with a couple athletes. It takes a lot of time. Like I need to I'm worried about tracking my attendance and seeing who's here and measuring
Hmm.
basic progress. And that was kind of a light bulb for us of, we sort of fell in the trap of over engineering for like a too niche of a product. Whereas, the everyday coach, there's so many chaotic, challenges, schedules, kids, parents, everything that's happening. There really needs to be a simplified tool for them to, that adapts to their needs. And so we kind of took a step back, learned more about the space, had a lot of connections, obviously, with coaches and performance teams, and really just understood, what does a high school weight room look like at 6 a.m. or, during
Hmm.
eighth period and all that chaos. And that's what we've kind of used to inform and design our product around.
Awesome. So what would you say is like the mission behind Tully? I see that you're trying to like help out coaches, along like the failed product and now on to the new product.
Yeah, so our mission really from day one has been we want to build a solution and a tool that helps, across the board. Every high school athletes, youth athletes, and really kind of raises the bar, especially for like strength conditioning, sports performance for those athletes. So, understanding there are so many financial time resource constraints that there's so many different size schools, size, budgets. It's really difficult to kind of have a one size fits all product. But what we want to do is we wanted to have a solution that could adapt to as many organizations as possible and really provide meaningful value in all those places to all those coaches. Something they can actually use, something that would benefit
Mhm.
them, saves them time. Some of the most rewarding things for us has been, when a coach says that they get more time on the weekends, that they're not, you know, rolling through data or picking up workout cards and trying to log data by hand. And, we give them, the coaches, their time back, but also we give, athletes that valuable feedback when, maybe disenfranchised sports or athletes who didn't know that they, had that potential, get to see their progress. They get to be, competing with one another, and they really get bought in. That's kind of the most rewarding. So we just want to be able to help as many programs as we can. We want to raise that bar for strength conditioning and performance side of things.
Great. So so how does it make it different from like other platforms that are also like this?
Yeah, so I mean, sports tech has become a very noisy space. I firsthand experience in professional football. It's like there's a device for everything. There's tons of data. That's a big buzzword, but honestly, the difference for us has always been less is more, and simple and flexible will always win out because, like I said, there's so many constraints for these coaches and for these organizations. Like
Hmm.
strength conditioning is a really important thing, especially for young athletes. I mean, if there's one thing you can do, it's develop yourself physically to improve. You're going to raise your potential. But even as important as it is, it's still only 10 to 15% of the to-do list for the typical coach, especially in football. I mean, there's so much else on your plate that it's just not realistic to think that you're going to hire more staff. You're going to pay thousands of dollars a month, or try to spend hours in the weight room. It's not practical. So ours has always been less is more. By being kind of the simplest, most flexible platform, we can adapt to each program, to their process they already have. There's a reason they do things the way they do them, and we don't try to change that. We try to fit into their existing culture and process. And that allows us to have an impact with way more coaches, way more athletes than we otherwise would. So we've really differentiated ourselves on that. Just really basic data, simple progress, building simple competition. Like there's huge value to that. Even as simple as like tracking who was there, attendance, and who showed up
Hmm.
today, and who's consistently showing up. Like that's really valuable and powerful. So we don't write that off.
Yeah, this product sounds great. Would love to like see the actual product and like
Yeah,
what features are core to the Tully experience.
absolutely. Let me pull it up for you.
What would you say is like your biggest like target sport, or do y'all work with just football or?
No, so we work purposely. I mean, we work with every athlete, male, female, across the board. Our backgrounds in football, so we obviously understand that space really well. And sadly, oftentimes, when you talk to high schools, the football team tends to put the most time and effort into the weight room, right? But I think that's more of a cultural thing and a result of, again, those limited resources and time. And the football team might be one of the biggest teams, so it makes sense why they get weight room time. But we're really proud that maybe if we start at a school with just their football team, within a few months we have every athlete on board, every other team coach. They're able to also get benefits from Tully. They can access more programs. They can actually track their athletes because everybody's competing and
Hmm.
working. They're all doing it in different ways. And again, that's that adaptability. So we love football, but we're really excited about working with every athlete along the way.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so this is just a view of the platform. I'll kind of highlight some of the fundamentals here. What was key for us was, when you talk about data and management, we're really building kind of a system of record for these organizations. So a way for them, just like your grade book or your progress reports in the classroom, this is a way to kind of monitor progress, engagement, competition for an athletic organization.
Hmm.
So really central to us is that everybody has access to this portal. So coaches, the team coaches, assistant coaches, athletic director, athletes, parents, everybody kind of has a stake in this. So everybody can access it, get the information they need really easily. Our our fundamental things has been the actual data collection. So data is great, but it's pretty useless if you're not actually collecting it. It's not accurate, right? It's garbage in, garbage out. And so while we can sit and talk about everything we can do with this great data set and all these, automated, plans and resources we can build, we have to have the data first. And that's a challenge. So for us, it's been, how can we simplify that and again fit into all these programs? Some schools have iPads at every rack. Some schools might have one cell phone that the coach brings in or one computer. So we adapt to their needs. We make it really easy for coaches and athletes to submit their data. But one of our staples has been that kind of engagement piece and really engaging with the data and why we're collecting it, which is for an athlete to see your progress and see your competition. So a cool feature for us and really prime is our data live feed. And what this is basically a live leaderboard that coaches can put up on a TV screen. They can project on the wall. And what it does is whatever, metrics, whatever the workout is that day, whatever you might be testing, you can kind of curate this board to look however you like, whatever sport you have, whatever team you have in, whatever metrics you're recording. And then as data flows in real time, we're spitting back feedback. So as you can see, here's a list of athletes. Kids can scan our QR code. They check in. That's their attendance tracker for the day. And then maybe, in the middle of the workout at the end when they're doing the testing, as data flows in from that coach or athlete, all of these numbers are updating in real time. So we're spitting back to Eric and Adam here, they're new numbers, but we're showing them, green, you've improved in this metric. Red, you went down. Maybe there's a reason for that. We're tagging things with a PR as a personal best. So it really allows that instant feedback for kids that, they're able to kind of walk around the room, see what each other are doing, everyone kind of engaging in the process and, not just collecting data for data's sake, if that makes sense. And then also on the coach's side, it's a great tool for them to see what's happening. If you're one coach with 30 athletes in the room, it's hard to know and get a pulse of how we did that day or how's everybody doing. And this is some live feedback that coaches really like and really enjoy. And then, outside of just kind of the data collection process and how we do it, it's that simple feedback and those visuals that really help athletes, help parents, help team coaches understand, what's happening and where the development's at. So we have our athlete summary page. So every athlete in our organization, regardless of sport, has their own page. This is that live progress report. This is something they can access at any time. They can see, their average improvement, their attendance rate. We have a pulse wellness survey that they can fill out every day to say, how sore are they? What's their energy level? How do they sleep? So they can look at that data. And then most importantly, just see the metrics that their coaches have assigned them. What are the fundamental KPIs or indicators that a coach is tracking? They can see their progress. They can see, if they've improved in that metric or not. They can see really plainly what their improvement's been, what their most recent efforts look like. And then, things like rankings, build competition. Where do I stand? That's always the number one question for an athlete. Where do I stand? So athletes can access this, their parents and others. And then we also have, that high level data. So a coach who before Tully is probably spending hours, writing programs, trying to, do a standard testing day every couple months and put a bunch of data into Excel and try to see some value. This is something that's here all the time that the coach, the athletic directors, other coaches can look in and see, how's our organization doing? How many athletes are coming in? The average check-in rate, those pulse scores again, and then similarly, what metrics we care about, what are those averages? What does our progress look like over the last few months? Who are our top performers? So kind of just automating all of that and making it really easily accessible is kind of the fundamentals of what Tully does and how we operate. And, the last piece of that is our Tully score, which is, as everybody loves a score. Everyone loves to compete. So we took a lot of time and carefully designed this score as a way to really show on each athlete's own terms, regardless of your sport, regardless of the exercises you do, the workout you do, building a score that everyone can kind of compete and grow and build in. And so our score is built from 0 to 100. It's normalized across all athletes, so you can compare a golfer to a football player to a girls basketball player, and it accounts for all those metrics they're tracking and things like attendance. And what's probably unique for us is we know what matters most is what the coach thinks and what the organization thinks and what they value. So we actually let coaches kind of set the parameters of the score. So do they want the score to be more about performance and the numbers that these kids are testing at, or is it about improvement? Maybe, you're a youth athlete, you're just learning, let's reward improvement. We can do that. And then they can play with all these metric categories. So, the lifts they have, the jumps, sprints, agilities, they can play with their priority settings. The scores will recalculate based off their preferences. So everyone kind of gets a score that's meaningful to them, but the kids get the value of that kind of daily, weekly score that they can always compete in as well. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So the athletes can go and look at this at any time, or do they have to have a portal?
Yeah, so they can go in and access it anytime. Athletes are able to have their own accounts where they can access their athlete summary page. They are able to view programs that have been assigned to them. So if a coach, you might have your kids in the school training with you for the spring semester, but do they go on out to summer break and maybe they're doing things remotely? They're going on vacation, spring break. So it kind of works both ways. It goes straight from the in-school weight room to remote. Kids can view programs, they can submit data, they can stay engaged along the way. But then also they're still able to submit data back to the coach. They're able to track that progress as well.
Oh, this is awesome. I wish I had this when I was an athlete in high school, but
yeah, me too.
this is really cool.
Yeah.
So just closing out, what is one message you would like to get across to every player or coach in the country, or what would it be?
Yeah, well, what really excited us about working with One Back, especially, was meeting Andrew and hearing about kind of the mission. The mission is to help coaches. I mean, that's plain and simple.
Yes.
It's to provide resources, make them accessible, and really be valuable and not kind of waste time or be an add-on. So, and that really aligns with us. That's what we want to be able to do, is just help meet coaches where they are, meet athletes where they are, give them the tools and resources they need. And ultimately, I think it's kind of the old adage of if you aren't measuring it, you can't manage it. And so there's so much lost potential. There's so much I wish that as a high school athlete, just being able to inhabit a system like this, and the value you get out of seeing your progress, the positive feedback you get. It's not about over evaluating or being critical of athletes. It's about, hey, look how much your hard work is paying off, and what a positive feedback that can be. That's what we want to really pride ourselves on and be focused on. And ultimately, we don't want to do anything that's not actually helping coaches and helping athletes. So that's been our mission and what we're going to continue to be focused on. So we just want to be a part of that, and we're excited to be a part of that with One Back, and finding ways to be valuable to these coaches, these organizations, and make their life easier so they can go be great coaches and impact athletes like us. So.
Great. Well, thanks, Adam, for joining us today. Everyone go check out Tully. Yeah.
Thanks, Lexi.